Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On your marks, get set, go! Running into jump, it's Ekiden Bros! Welcome, everybody. I am your Moxie manga marathoner, Moxie the Yeen, here with my hyper-focused co-hocust, Isekai Sensei-Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing?
I don't think I am very hyper-focused after what we just did.
You just hyper-focused on recording the intro. That's
a good point. I was hyper-focused on the very specific thing that I wanted.
You, in fact, did that exact thing for this bit that I wrote hours ago. And welcome, everybody. We're in for part 3 of the 4 weeks of new Shonen Jump manga. And with this week, we've also learned R.I.P. Star of Beethoven, which I read that chapter this morning, and I don't know what that last chapter was at all. I don't know what it was trying to say, and I'm not really clear on what happened.
I mean, I haven't read it, but I would hope it's just one big, long monologue from Beethoven.
He does give a monologue. It seems like he's writing a new, I guess, spoiler alert for freaking Star of Beethoven's ending, I guess, in 20 chapters. The kid has done his big piano thing. It's a big hit. There's a bunch of people watching it, and then Beethoven goes on stage, and he's written a new sonata, and everybody's like, "What? That's not possible!" And he's like, Beethoven's like, "Originally, I was going to give this to you, but I'm going to play it." And then maybe he plays it. It's not super clear, and he gives a monologue about music and stuff. But like, maybe I just need to read it again. But it just was very like, it was very unclear.
Could have been more clear.
Could have been more clear. But not important. Today we were talking about Ekiden Bros, which is a new manga in Jump, not a dead manga in Jump. It is another sports series, and if my future knowledge is correct and it wasn't a freaking gosh dang Jump Plus series, the next one will be a sports series. I think it's ping pong.
I think that was right.
They're trying real hard.
I didn't know that this was a sports one.
I didn't know this was a secret another sports arc.
And I really, after reading this, I'm like, oh, they're trying to break the curse.
They're trying really hard.
I don't think they're going to, but we'll get into that.
I don't know what would break it, but I had feelings and thoughts on this. We'll get into them then. But yes, this was written and arted by Daiki Nono, which my light Googling found nothing of note. So this is a newbie, to my knowledge. Do you know things?
No. And because of that, I would guess that they are probably someone who had a one-shot in Shonen Jump at some point.
Almost assuredly.
Now this is their debut.
Yes. I also, because when I was curious things of my other Googling, Ekiden, the internet tells me, is a specific long-distance multi-stage relay race. So it is not a place. It is a thing.
I love how they all have to have like specific names. They can't just describe what they are. It's like you got the Bigfoot and you've got the I don't even know. There's a lot of different ones.
I know they have a lot of different ones. Let me give you one fuzzy example.
Do you know what the Bigfoot is?
No.
250 miles.
Okay. What, Japan or runners, I guess is what I'm trying to.
It's a marathon. That is,
okay.
Which it's not, though, because marathon is specifically 24 point whatever miles or something.
People have words for things. When you're running all the time, I think you have time to think, or maybe not think. I don't know.
Because there's like the Iron Man and then the blah. But like a Bigfoot is 250 miles, which is insane, and people run it straight through. It takes like 27 hours.
I do not understand. Runner people are insane to me. As somebody who's run a few 5Ks and a few 10Ks, runner people are insane to me. I watch them. I'm like, what parts of it? Mostly the thing that gives me solace is your body is going to fall apart in a couple decades and I'm going to be able to keep on trying. That's what brings me solace. So I don't just kind of curl into a ball.
The only thing I can say to that is the human body is sort of built for that.
What?
Running basically indefinitely. Like,
no.
That's how we used to hunt.
Yes, but not as long. I don't think we as humans ran that much all the time. Like the constant up and down, especially on hard ground, is not like our bodies weren't built to absorb all that shock all the time.
And I don't think
that quickly.
the people in Africa were running 250 miles to chase down a wildebeest.
On pavement. Pavement.
And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure most of Africa, savanna is pretty flat.
Pretty flat and not.
But still, running
Insane.
for a very long time
Yes.
without stopping until the animal that they're chasing
That is a human. Yeah,
dies of
but maybe not to
exhaustion.
this level. This was translated by Melissa Tanaka, which from my Googling, this is her first localization gig for Jump. I did not see any series from the list of where I've been finding other ones that I recognized even a little bit. I wouldn't even known. There was maybe like 24, which a lot of them usually have a lot, but like none of them were like even like I think I heard about that. There was some Gundam one she had put some notes out for, but I know nothing of Gundam, but that was one when my Googling that showed up that she had like a blog post about it or something, or like a Reddit post. I don't know. But really, funnily enough, when I first Googled just the name, a track and field runner popped up with the same exact name, which I thought was very funny. I do not think they were the same human.
What if they were? What if she was like,
I know.
I learned Japanese just so I could translate this one
one shot.
Well, I'll look forward to when she's on Shonen Flop and we can learn more about her.
Yes. And see, this is the reason why we started doing these. Lettering by Phil Christie, a name I recognize from a prior episode. Which one, I don't recall, but one of the 2 episodes we just did. He was on at least one of them. And with that business out of the way, we're ready for my... Very fitting for this one, that we're going to have a Moxie's Mach Speed manga summary marathon. Mini marathon. The Hakone Ekiden, a team relay race that's 217 kilometers, or about 135 miles, long. It's where people run and connect for their teammates' sakes. Those who go beyond will seize victory. Stage 1, Nobunaga and the 48 Bros. I'll just do it now. This protagonist's name, his name is Nobunaga Kazuma, which is the most just like... names that make my brain tingle for Japanese names as being a weeb.
I'm going to call you out for this here.
I misspelled it.
You've misspelled it. Nobunaga.
That's why I saw it. I'm like, did I get it wrong? And I'm like, I spelled it wrong in that moment. I know it's Nobunaga because they literally chant his name as phonemes a lot. So, the 48 Bros. Why is it 48 Bros? Whatever. No, let's finish this and then we can think. Since he was a child, our protagonist has always loved watching the Ekiden race every winter. He thought it must be fun to run like that. Those athletes pushing their bodies to the limits, oh goodness, are on a completely different level than me. We properly meet our protagonist, Nobunaga Kazuma, which I've also misspelled that last name in this thing. My keyboard needs some help.
Kazuma does.
Kazuma does. In the now, as a high school first year at running training with some other students, he's not on track and field. They make a point that he's not. What is this? Is this gym?
So Japanese schools, I don't know, this is every single one, but like this is a thing that I've seen in Japanese media over and over again. They have, what amounts to a PE class, and something that seems to be almost mandatory to participate in is a kind of marathon, normally, 10, 15 kilometers, something like that. And basically all of the students do it.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't. I wouldn't like that, but
yeah. But if you were a kid and you didn't know better, you could find that you could do it, and then you wouldn't think you couldn't do it.
But yeah, so
you'd actually, do it.
Even not being in track and field, that's a thing that
he's running adjacent. But I couldn't tell because later, I guess this. I think I vaguely cut this from the summary, just trying to slim things down. But there's talk of a running club, but that's not track and field. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
He befriends the coach as they both gush over runners at the upcoming Ekiden, much to the chagrin of one of his classmates.
That was hilarious, that part, by the way.
Pretty good. Then, walking home, I think at one point goes, "Thank you, sweet boy," or "You do your thing, sweet boy," or something like that. Because, I'm like, oh, that's my word.
The other kids were happy that he sweet talked the coach, so they all got out of whatever they were. Yeah, he was forcing them to do.
The one was very annoyed, who we will learn more about later. Then, walking home, Kazuma runs into Kazuka Kenzaki, what a name, a freshman at Saitoku University, and we're told track and field long-distance running ace. They are buddies. Kazuka offers Kazuma to join him for the run, but declines, just saying he'll walk home with him leading us. What?
That's why they keep calling him Nobunaga, because those two names are really similar.
Very close. I called him Kazuma because I just like going Kazuma, 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 and it was easier to type, as you've seen by my misspellings. But he declines to run with him, just saying he'll walk with him home, which leads us to his home life. He lives at the dorms for Saitoku's university track and field team, and has done so for his whole life. His father is the coach, and his mother is the dorm mother. We find Kazuma making soba noodles. It was sourdough bread before, but now soba is the new hyper-focus for him. We also meet some of the bros living in the dorm with him. They want to get his help or hang out with him, but he's in hyper-focus mode studying for his school exams. We see in his room is littered with books for past hyperfixations, like soba and bread making. He focuses so hard he doesn't even notice anybody and forgets to eat. Kazuka asks him why he doesn't do track and field, despite being so interested in it. Kazuma says it's not for him. He doesn't have the mindset for it. He's seen how hard they all work and admires them, but couldn't do it himself, so he works really hard to support them all. He also just doesn't want to shame his parents who were former pros being a lousy runner. Back at running practice, and I'm now not clear if this was a gym class or a club or something, we learn of a high school running meet, a 10K, which Kazuma blows off, but a classmate blows up at him. This is clearly the rival, who's jealous of Kazuma for not taking advantage of the resources he has presented to him, as this rival grew up poor. I think I'm just going to get into the rival with you later, because it was like getting all the little details was like already this long summary, which I'm making now longer. And this rival then describes those losers from your school will be there watching. Kazuma can't stand the bros being smack talk and steps up to do the race. If I win, you take back what you said. Fine, sure. His classmates tell him to train with the university runners, but he says they are way too fast and goes on to describe how incredibly fast they are and how much endurance they have. He can't do that. Cut to the gym, and Kazuma is training on a treadmill, taking it easy, when Kazuka appears and turns the speed up on it, really pushing Kazuma to his limits. You have to build stamina to go to the distance. After training, the two chit-chat about why he's running, that he won't put up with someone bad-mouthing all the hard work you guys do. Kazuma asks Kazuka how he runs so fast, and Kazuka explains, I know, it's very funny, because that's what they call him, Nobunaga, but that's his last name or whatever, or maybe not, I don't know. I don't know how these names work all the time. And Kazuka explains he trains a lot, but it's easy because he just loves running. He says they're going to win the upcoming race for Saitoku. We cut to that very race as Kazuka is handed the sash, akin to a baton, and starts his leg of the race, very behind the other schools. Maybe Saitoku does suck. But then Kazuka comes rushing past them with ease while maintaining that incredible speed and wins the race for his school. Now we're at Kazuma's race, and all the bros are there to support him. Him and his rival exchange some words, and the race starts. Kazuma worries at first. He's so in his own head. But then Kazuka's words of advice start filtering in. Concentrate and scrub all those negative feelings out. It's now his hyperfocus kicks in, and he goes blazing past everyone with ease, even a cyclist. This feels amazing. Is this how all the team feels? My body is struggling. My heart is on fire. I'm drooling from need of air, but I'm pushing my limits. With this, Kazuma just clinches out a victory over his rival at the end, the two collapsing to the ground directly afterwards. We learn they were 19th and 20th, but the crowd is still overjoyed at this. Yes, he loves running, and while this is just the start of his journey, he's got a lot of hard work in front of him, but he's excited to run towards it.
I thought that was hilarious, because it's like, it looks like they're fighting for first and second, and they're like 19th and 20th.
I love that.
Like, what?
That fixes a problem that I usually have with these things.
Couldn't even tell there was anybody in front.
So
was that cyclist not the pace person?
I thought that was I'm assuming that's the pace person, but I don't. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know what that means now. Maybe they were just a cycle, like following along. Like maybe that was a further back cyclist because like a school is going to have a wide variety of runners in it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really happy we had Hazukaze Mound last time, especially with B, to like get so much into sports manga to get me so specifically charged to talk about this one. Brad, this manga had so much working against it. I was already very jaded about sports series from that last one. I was just like, what's freaking cross-country running gonna have for me? It's like there's none of the normal like, oh, facing off, even though you kind of are. But like I was in an exceptionally bad mood and explicitly knew that going into it and was trying my best to not be too jaded. Brad, I had a really good time with this manga in a way that I wasn't expecting. Like I was actively had so many things working against it, and I had a good time with it.
I mean, you're not wrong. Out of every sport possible, I think the only thing that I could care less about than baseball is track and field.
Track and field. And not even just all of track and field. We're not like, throwing and jumping. We're literally just running long distances. Yeah. And I think it helped that like I was just having a good time, and oh dear Lord, was the art a blessing for me. I loved the art. It's so wonderfully cartoony. I love it. It's got so much personality in it. Characters, they're not like hyper stylized, but there's
Right.
some like stuff going on that makes them very easy to differentiate. Like I just love the way it looks.
I very
it's so nice.
specifically noted that. I was like, huh, this is like, it almost looks like they took the standard manga style of today and like went over it with a stylistic touch to make it their own thing, because like their proportions and the backgrounds and everything are very much like the standard
you
thing.
Need it. You need in a sports series like this, you kind of need to ground it. But like,
Right.
yeah, everybody's faces and general designs are a little bit more
Yeah, they made it more
cartoony, and I love that. I love that so much more than the like sports mumblecore. It's like it's good art, but just like as a design, it's very like to me, which I'm admittedly very particular about. It was very just sort of like okay, that's fine, because you can get a lot of extra like
the
reactions and stuff. And
the
I like
eyes, like the eyes are bigger than normal, which is funny to say because I mean, manga eyes are bigger already, but like
expressive. Yeah,
the increase in size of the eyes makes it more cartoony. So you add that into the sort of the soft edges and thicker outlines of this, and it's like, yes, this is much more cartoon than a lot of the other stuff we've seen.
Yes. So that was already just a delight opening up of like, oh, I really like this art style, and going into it trying to like get myself out of the downward spiral before I started it. Just because it was like timing wise, it's like I got to read this and I got to write the summary. I need to get to it now. B's words echoed in my ear of like, because we're controlling this as a story, you can make all these little things be the big moments. Like that's what baseball is. Like baseball doesn't like. I made that argument, and your counter argument, both of your counter arguments, was really good at it. But it was that idea of because this is more simplified, you can focus so much more on what the battle is and what's going on in the particulars, because it's not moving. There's not that many moving pieces at any given singular moment.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
hyper focus on them. And that helps with the storytelling.
You ask any random person of like, how do you write a story about someone just running? It's like, oh.
I mean, I think the real question on this one, I mean, for us, and especially moving forward, which is technically we should be asking later, is how does somebody write more than one story about running
right?
after they write their first one? How do you keep at it? So
it's too bad we can't do Day at the Range for a brand new series.
Yeah, I'll have to wait. We'll give it all a month and come back to these. No, we won't. I don't want to do that. But no, I liked it. I liked the designs. I liked the characters. I liked how it was set up. I was thinking about the shoot. What was it? What did I call it? My brain is now presenting. What was the test I said last time? If they did anything that wasn't just the sport.
Oh, the
Bechtel test. My brain was like
Bechtel
the
test.
Harkness test. It's like, this is not the Harkness test. I said Bechtel test.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think it passes it, but it feels like...
No, it totally does. Because he did
we were-
stuff at home. And
He did.
while it was
You're right.
almost
Yeah, 'cause
completely
the soba
focused
noodles,
on it,
but it wasn't. There was moments that it wasn't, so it passes the sports Bechtel
there was
test.
plenty of time when they weren't actively on the field of the sport.
We had
which is-
personality moments that weren't just in
Right.
in towards the actual sport being done.
And to be clear, I don't think that the Hazakura Mound was necessarily bad for that.
No,
but
but
it's
I'm
an
using that as
interesting-
my viewing lens because it makes me. I think why I liked this is that it spent time building character
Yeah.
and having fun, and not
Yeah.
just we're doing the sport. They're doing. Which, admittedly, we did the sport here, but anybody can run, so it's not like you have to wait. Like we're going to learn more particulars about it. I would
Anybody can
hope
run.
anybody can move. Most anybody can move forward. There we go. I'm sorry. I'm being ableist. I'm sorry.
I mean, I was talking about myself, but
We've gone on walks.
that's your answer for that.
Yeah,
Oh, we've
correct.
walked.
We've walked.
We've walked.
We've walked. You kept up with me mostly. Sometimes I move quick. I'm a fast walker. I like the setup of the house. I thought that was such a good gimmick, especially with this art style that you can differentiate dudes pretty
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And I'm excited to like
You say that.
slowly meet them all.
The one Kazaku, there were a couple times where I wasn't sure if that was him or someone else.
He's not wearing the shades. He has killer shades he wears when he's running that make him look like a freaking T1000.
No, but then there was a panel where he was wearing them, and then the next panel it was very clear it was him, but they were up on his head, and there was just
you had your thing. That's been your big thing is transitions.
yeah.
Time had passed. He had put them up on his head.
I-
Maybe he was done running.
I'll call that out right now because basically my only issue with this, there was some parts near the end, I would say within the last 20, 15 pages or so, where there was a lot of things stuffed together all at once.
One of these days, we need to have like a bonus video episode, and you just go with like a mouse and go this, and you say it, you point it to me explicitly while it's in front of my face in a way that the viewer can also see what you're gesturing at, because it's like this shows up too much for me to for specifically you to bring up for me to like I need to check your receipts and understand how your brain works in this thing. 'Cause right now I'm like, maybe I'm noticing it subconsciously and just battering over it, and now you've got the eye for it, or maybe I'll just think you're crazy. But I need to be able to check
both.
I need to check the receipts and the evidence to know where we're sitting right now and how much I should heckle you or go, no, that's very valid when you bring these up constantly.
My biggest argument here is that in the beginning of this, I had no issues at all. It all flowed very well, and I felt like the pacing was good, and it was only a little bit at the end where it like jumped out at me because it was sort of all on top of each other, and it felt like we were jumping from scene to scene too quickly without a good, break in the middle. So
yeah, I guess like going from the end of the college race to the start of his, I could maybe see as jarring, but I feel like if it was like an anime, you could do a crossfade really nicely there of like, here's this running, and then now here's this finish line is now the starting line here, something like that. I don't know.
There was specifically a page where there was like more panels than normal, like there were more than 6 or whatever, because like a couple of them they broke into 2, and I think it was just
so fascinating. You're the human that notices that and not me. Like, I just find that fascinating because I just don't remember. I just sort of hoover it up, I guess.
I don't think there's there's nothing wrong
with it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think you're calling it out. It's just interesting that you retain those.
I'm saying there's nothing wrong with not noticing it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. I jumped the gun there.
I also don't think there's anything wrong with noticing it. But
yeah.
Most of the time when I notice it and specifically call it out, it's because it takes me out of it, even for just a second. But like when I have that break with the thing that I'm reading, it jumps out at me because I can like my train of thought that is, and the train of the story that is entering my brain breaks for a second. So it's very noticeable to me, even if it's just a very small thing.
You must hate chapter breaks.
No, but see, that's a very clear delineation.
Yeah, true.
The clear delineations on purpose are good. It's when there's some fuzziness to it that it sort of like jumps out at me.
I have more questions, but I'm going to save them for that video episode because otherwise I'm just going to be guessing at a thing that I can't hold in my brain right now, and this is not the time to do it. I like our main character. He's a sweet boy. I like that. Once again, autism alert. Hakutaku watch. I think this one's handled a little better. I like how they set it up because that is a very thing of like, oh, this week I'm kind of focused on this thing. Like I very much understand that. And the idea that like he's been working for this towards a long time. Like he's just been so percolating in all of this running stuff since literally the moment he was born.
It sort of makes me wonder
when his head finally clears.
Why exactly did he think he couldn't run?
Because he's been running a gym class. I want to bridge from that also to like the rival, but it's like he was in a running club in elementary school.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just like the long distance stuff. He just didn't he never fully was able to hit that flow point because that's what it feels like, and he literally hits the flow point in his brain and it affects his body that he's on. I think they make a reference to, they don't think they say that that's what he's on, but like the runner's high, this idea of just like the endorphins kick into your brain and you just glide.
It just felt, I mean, obviously it needed to do that for the story, but it just felt a little bit weird to me that he was like so enamored with this for his entire life. And yet he didn't try anything. Like,
I mean, they give you a lot of good reasons just around it. Like, I could see of just like, oh, you guys are constantly working so hard. I don't think I could do that just if you had never really tried at it.
But I would have thought he would have read about like, oh, you gotta push yourself to get your body to up your endurance. Yeah, but if your
brain is the thing that's in your emotional brain, the thing that's in the way, logic is not going to always dispel that. The reason is not always what is holding us back.
And obviously, like I said, you had to do that for the story. So yeah. I'm going to be forgiving of that because I think overall it's a good message and the theme is good and everything. But like, it's a question in the back of my brain.
Yeah, no, there's always are you treating autism as a superpower? And in this case, it's like I liked how they set it up before we got there, so it felt just very like familiar. And then when it hit, I'm like, yeah, no, I'll give it to you here. It's not like he entered a actually, he literally did enter a hyper-focus state, but it wasn't like freaking Rain Man levels, I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't even win the race. He was at 19th.
The thing here is, I think is, in terms of the other protagonists that we've seen, that it's like, oh, this is definitely autism. This one's more on the fence for me.
Okay.
Because obviously the hyperfocus is something that like neurodivergence can definitely show up as.
And especially because like the whole thing of like last week it was sourdough breads and now it's soba noodles and I'm gonna and read and like I'm gonna focus so hard that I don't notice other people around me. I forget to eat.
That's more of an ADD thing, although that is also can be a form of autism on the spectrum.
It's a bit of a cocktail, Brad.
But given that what we saw with the rest of his life, like he seems like he's got a fine school life, he's got friends, that kind of stuff. So it's like,
yes, he can have all those things and have the tism.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying.
Yes,
I think this is the one that people could make an argument of like, stop trying to put autism on everything. And it's like this one, I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Still, that hammer is still fresh to me all this time later. I like the setup for his rival.
Yeah.
I like I like the set because it's like a lot of it I didn't put in the summary because I just wanted to talk about it kind of freewheeling. It's like they have been together since elementary school. They're not really friends. If anything, Kazuma thinks they're friends, but he doesn't. I feel like we get his name like once, but I didn't like find it specifically.
Something with an R, isn't it?
That sounds right. I don't know. We didn't get like a character portrait, even though we probably should have with him, like a specific like naming thing like that we got with Kazuma and
I think
Kazuki.
It was.
Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
If only we had some kind of devices that we
show
could,
and tell me.
Look and
but I like
somebody invent that.
I like how different he looks. I like because it's like they make a point of like in the summary I made it so much more direct about what their situation is and why he's like, because it's like he's a bully but he's not, but you can so easily tell it's like I'm frustrated with you because what they make a point and it's like, oh, you were in the running club in elementary school because your family was poor and that was the cheapest club to be in. That was an athletic club, which it's like, I never thought about that, but yeah, it's like you don't really need any equipment outside of some shoes, which you probably already have. Like you could spend money on good shoes, but if you're just
expensive,
they can be. But if you already have shoes to walk in, so you have shoes to run in. They may not be good shoes for it, but if you're poor, there's not really two ways around it. You don't need a jersey necessarily and all the other stuff. I don't think as much, especially elementary school. So, but I don't know that.
I did like how the rivalry seemed to be specifically around like, why aren't you trying? You know,
yeah, like
I'm pissed at you for not trying.
I'm pissed because I don't have all these extra bonuses you have, and you're not even trying. And I'm trying so gosh dang hard. Like I'm excited to see how that relationship and that character in particular changes over time. Because I feel like he's not always going to be like that once it's settled. But like, I felt a little justified in how he was feeling. You know, also they're children and they don't know how to express themselves very well. But also just like, I'd get pissed at somebody who seemed like they had all the benefits in the world. They just weren't, like, so stupidly, actively weren't taking them when it was just so clear that's what they should have been doing.
Yeah.
And that could be really frustrating when you have it. Also, just hearing about characters in, like, regular, non-fantastical manga where it's just like, my family's poor. Actually, no, that's a super effing lie. I'm just remembering Keijo and probably a bunch of other women. I guess when it comes to children, like in Jump, we don't usually see that dealing in a high school setting, I feel like.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more what I'm getting at. Like, I feel like that's so much more a thing you'd run into. Like, that is such an American school story of, like, that kid is from a poor family. Not even necessarily always in, like, a class. I guess it's always going to be a class if we're talking
Ichi's
poor and
pretty
rich.
poor.
But, like, is he?
I mean, he lives in the woods.
He has a nice house.
It's a shack.
He's embroidery. He's doing fine. He's not... Well, like, my point is, it's not like...
I get what that was a joke.
Okay, I don't know. Because I'm trying to like find something and make a point here of like it's so the sort of the somebody being rich or poor is such a thing in American.
Yeah, I mean Naruto. He was poor,
but it's a fantastical setting. My point is like so much like the Breakfast Club and stuff. Like there's so much grounded school stuff. Where that is usually a major factor of the haves and have-nots. Like, that's just so baked into American high school storytelling, and it's just so not generally present in
Himiten, the boy. His family is not well off because he has to have a job to support them.
But does it ever come up outside of him having to have the job? Does it ever matter that he's poor, quote unquote?
He always can get what he needs.
No Malcolm. I brought up Malcolm in the Middle. A friend is rewatching that recently and just gawking at the that family is displayed as poor, even though what is a house of 2 parents and 4 or 5 children, and they live in a house and they support all the children, and it's like that's not poor.
Katone from Psych House. She had to resort to stealing because her mom was in the hospital.
Yeah, but then it didn't matter anymore. And also that wasn't grounded because she had psychic powers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, I don't know how much it'll be important or not important, but it set up why the rival was feeling those things in the way he expressed them. I liked that. I like the relationships in this. I like the art. I like the setup. As somebody, I guess I've done some running. I am in no way a runner. I feel like I have a little bit of more connection to it than not, but not enough for it to, I think, matter. Let me see. What am I thinking of? Where can it go? It's the sports manga. It
can go pretty far, 20, 30 kilometers.
Exactly.
Or what was it? 217 kilometers?
135 or 134 miles or something like that.
This is Japan. They don't have miles.
Correct. Well, I mean, that's why I translated that one. I localized that measurement for you listeners out there who use not the metric system. I don't know what extra special sauce I'd put on it I mean, I'm hoping we get more home life with the parents. I would understand why we wouldn't do that now. We got to see them and we got to understand their plays and things, so it's I hope we get, especially now that he's doing it, I hope he gets to talk to them, and I hope they have advice.
Well, especially his dad's a coach, right?
Yeah, of the college team. I hope we meet more bros. And they're all kind of different and can filter in and out as needed.
So chapter 1 is called Nobunaga and the 48 Bros. But we see 6 of them, maybe.
Does that mean there's more, or is that a play on Nobunaga that has some famous story with a particular number?
That is a great question that I don't have the answer for. That I'm sure Ben will tell us when this episode comes out.
Yes, but that was more like an instinct call than anything, than knowing something. Do you think there'll be a love interest?
That's a good question.
That's
certainly
a classic
didn't
of a sports series. Well, that's a classic of older, better sports series.
Yeah.
And Blue Box, which is technically a sports series.
I feel like no, and I hope that if there is, it's the rival.
Do you think any women besides his mom will be in this manga? Not that it matters.
That's a good question. I would...
Wait, one of the bros has to have a girlfriend.
Probably. But I was actually thinking there'll probably be one woman runner who can actually keep up with the boys, and
I could see that.
They're all enamored with her because she's so great and everything.
I could see that.
Yeah. She'll be college level, and she will dote on Nobunaga, and he won't get it. He's probably ace.
I guess not where it can go, but where I hope it goes is just because running is so I don't want to save the moments where there's the big run, so I'm hoping in the vein of what I'm assuming is in between races and Initial D, I hope there's a lot of human storytelling in between the races, and the races are the big moments. The races is not the thing we're always doing. It's the big arc enders we're leading up to.
We should be ashamed of ourselves, we've forgotten the big high school marathon thing that we should have remembered this whole time.
Oh?
Yeah. From Mob Psycho.
I forgot about that.
It was the whole thing.
It was the whole thing. Body Improvement Club.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Fight on.
Fight on. Fight on. There's definitely some Body Improvement Club vibes from the bros.
Yeah.
More of, less of, something to add. More, I guess, I said, more interpersonal stuff. I love that. And things that aren't necessarily directly related to running. Less constantly running in every chapter all the time. It's going to burn out. And they're going to get tired, and I'm going to get tired of it. I think it's a good, I'm excited because it's that idea, we're pushing our limits. That's a very jumpian thing to do. But I feel like I'd want to build up to those and not just be if we are already running another race in chapter 2, I think I'm going to frown.
Yeah.
because that just means we're just going to be running all the time, and I don't think that's. I think it's a thing. It's like a pay-per-view. You want to build to it and make it mean something. If we're already running again in like an actual race and not just a practice, I think that would bode poorly.
Yeah. So I guess before we get into thinking things and feels, I should put this out there.
Oh, I don't like this tone of voice.
I don't think that this is going to be the thing to break the curse, like by far. I like the concept, even though I don't care about running. I like that they're doing this. I think it's good to try these new and crazy weird things. But even though I think this was executed really well, I don't think it's going to have legs.
I don't care about that. I think this is the best sports manga first chapter that we've gotten in a while in Jump. I think since we started, with my caveats that I said last time.
I don't disagree.
So whether it breaks the curse or not, I don't really care. I like it. And I think it is genuinely good and not me just sort of, I feel like I finally broken the spell of the stuff from Embers and Mound, where it's just like, this feels like rushed mumblecore.
I do.
And I feel like I have to kind of bend over to like accept things, bend over backwards. Where it's just like, this was a fun read. I never felt like I had to like make excuses for it, or like, again, I think I had this with the episode prior, with the one that I can't remember or say correctly. I don't feel like this I don't think any of my enjoyment was based on checks I have to cash in the future that may or may not have banks there to cash them at.
Oh yeah, I mean, more so than I think most of the stuff we've read recently. Like this one chapter could be it. It could be a one shot.
It can be, but it also does feel like it has legs to, like, he's not amazing, which was the thing that I like. Like, he's got talent, but he has place to grow, which also was the thing that I complained about with Asakaze Mound and other ones, where it's like, when they need an edge, but if they start out as too much of the top of the pile, it's like, the joy is in the journey. I feel like in the romance thing, the joy is in the chase. If you're already there, then you're already there. There's nothing to do.
So, but part of the problem
in these classic shonen sports stories.
Yeah, part of the problem, though, is that, like, especially with something like this, you have to have something to fill in the in-between of getting better and getting to that end goal. And I'm not sure what you do for this.
You live the life. What was Blue Box? We didn't even see them play sports. I know that was a romance, but you can have interpersonal things. People dealing with other relationships, like he's going to school, his classmates. I think
that was the thing, is that in Blue Box, like, the sports was the aesthetic of the series, but the meat of it was the interpersonal relationships. Yeah. Whereas this one, the point is him doing the sport.
And the interpersonal relations that come with that. The idea of you're running, they make a point of multiple times of running for someone. And the idea that it's a relay race is that you are training hard to not let your fellow runners down.
Yeah.
And that means that is a built-in reason to create strong interpersonal relationships. Like, he's probably going to have to strengthen his personal relationship with the rival character.
Right.
Because they're at the same high school.
Yeah, and they'll end up doing the Ekiden together. Well, I think that's about it. So why don't we get into our thinky feels and feely things?
I like this idea. I'm going to go first.
You do that.
I feel this is great. I had a great time with this. It beat the odds. It had so much running against it, both in and of itself and to my own insides of the day I was having. And I was delighted by it in a way that I was really very much primed not to be.
That's your thoughts.
That's my feelings.
You don't have any thoughts?
I was going to let you have yours first, but I guess if we're doing both. I honestly also think it's great. I think it did all the things it needed to do. I think if it wasn't good, I don't think I would have overcome that negative hole I started in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it made me endeared to the character. I think it showed the sport. I think it built it up. I mean, obviously it needs to not fumble the ball in chapter 2, which so many of them have already. And, like, I probably will, who knows? Like, I can't get my hopes up that high. But, like, honestly, I think this was put together very well. I think it built the pieces. It's set up interesting relationships. It set up interesting scenarios and situations. And hopefully it's not just, oh, now he's just a whiz. Like, he still has somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And there's still more things to figure out.
So, I agree. I think that this is great. I think it's doing all of the stuff it needs to do to be really good. The art, I think generally speaking, except for some very key spots, the pacing is really good. I think the story can be inspiring and interesting. I like the concept of what it's doing. I feel it's fine.
That's fine. I know you don't like
specifically,
sports manga, especially this one, which is the lowest of the sports.
Yeah,
in terms of things happening.
Specifically,
sorry, runners.
Apologies to Lass, but this is just not for me.
Yeah,
like so objectively, I am going. This is really good. This is great for some people, and I just don't care.
Acceptable. You don't do sports. We know these things already. So I'm glad I'm glad it was strong enough to beat my own jadedness. Because if somebody had to have extra thoughts about it, it was going to be me by virtue of sports manga law.
This is the kind of thing where in 12 chapters, I want someone to come back and go, oh, this happened, and then he did this and that and the other thing, and this was cool, and I'll be like, awesome, cool, thanks for telling me.
Well, you mean it though when you say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, to reiterate, I think the concept here is really interesting. I just don't like. Yeah. I want this to exist. You
just don't want to take it in, which is reasonable. It's acceptable. It's
want
valid.
this to kill the sports curse. I truly, from my heart, I want it to. I don't think it's going to, and I personally don't care to read it.
We'll see how the ping pong one goes, but I
don't have high hopes for that either.
No, honestly, I think this one has my Moxie's blessing for breaking the curse. If I search deep inside my body, do I think it'll do it? No, but also I've constantly harped on the fact that I have no effing clue about how any of this stuff works and who reads and why and what's going on, and everybody's gonna have different opinions because I don't freaking go into those threads on the flop court anymore because it's just a bunch of people belly aching about this or that. I'm like, I just had a good time with this. I don't want to tell y'all about it if you're just gonna be like this about it constantly. People saying the art was bad, and I said your opinions are bad. You're actively wrong, and I don't like you.
I hope they're not listening.
I hope you're listening, person who said that the art in this was bad. I don't like your outlook on life.
I'll ask you who it was later. I liked, as far as something that I want to read, I liked Embers more than this. Now, obviously, Embers is now over.
Yep.
And this has a bunch of things that are objectively better than Embers.
Yes.
So I definitely want to give it that.
It's a lot less mumblecore.
As far as a story that I am going to latch onto and care about, Embers was the sports one.
It has more of the sauce.
And that's dead. So I don't care about sports and Shonen Jump anymore.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to because there's 3 new series and we've covered 2 of them now. So, but after we're done covering them, you can stop caring again.
Well, I mean,
you have to kind of care for 1 more week.
I don't think I'm going to read Hazakura Mound.
Neither am I.
I don't think I'm going to keep reading this. Well, I'm not going to keep reading this.
I'll tell you. I know you're not going to keep reading this. I'll keep telling you about it if I keep on it or not.
And there's a very high likelihood I won't keep reading the ping pong thing.
Almost assuredly the same. So, yes. So that's where we're at.
But I really hope that people that are into sports manga are happy right now. Like, I legitimately want there to be a decent section of Shonen Jump, weekly Shonen Jump, that is for those people.
Why can't the children run? This is what this asks.
The children yearn for the asphalt.
The children learn for street work or whatever the heck the word is for it when they go out running. Not street work. Road work? I think it's road work. I sure hope it does.
Yeah. That's
would you buy?
I'm not going to.
I knew that already. No. I would. I had a good time. Like I said, it beat all the odds. My hopefulness is ringing out more than I would have expected. I'm excited to read the second chapter. I'm also very ready for it to disappoint me like every second chapter does, as most everything I've been reading. Honestly, the only second chapter in recent memory that hasn't just completely that has been is Star of Beethoven, and I think that's just because it's such a strange series that mostly just lived on the back of Beethoven's monologues. Like, it's always a series that I would read a chapter and felt like that was good, and then next week would roll around and go, do I want to keep reading that? And then I would read it and go, wow, I'm having a good time with this. Like, it was just, I'd constantly just forget what I was enjoying about it week by week. So, and now it's over.
Maybe you should try one shot some more.
I mean, maybe. I don't think we need to high noon, do we?
No.
Okay, you've already done your evil gun toting last 2 episodes.
Well, I mean, I think if we were farther, because we are completely in agreement on.
Because like shooting each other on a sports thing like this just feels silly.
Yeah.
Unless we were at a different the opposite direction, or like you really hated it because you're at your normal, like, it's sports.
Yeah.
Like you're not at like this fucking sucked. So.
And I mean, maybe I should, because I forced you and B to fight twice, but
you forced B to shoot me and shoot the manga
you
that they loved, that they cared about.
You both felt farther away from each other on both of those.
Yes.
Than we
admittedly,
are on
the
this.
second gunfight was a lot more fun for me, even if I had to shoot the manga.
So yeah. If our audience thinks that's wrong and that we should have had a gunfight here, then let us know. Should we
save it for ping pong?
Murder each other more often?
Not here. There's times where I'm more souped up that I'm ready for, but this wasn't the one. I don't think I have any other closing thoughts. So, Brad, hit me with them plugs.
I'm gonna run away.
You can't say that. That's the ending gag.
Well, you can't have an ending gag if you can't catch me. As always, we need to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. They have all kinds of cool stuff you can't get outside Japan. Our listeners can use the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. And we want to hear from you, so find all of our social links on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. The best place to chat with us is on our Discord, and you can also find a link up there to our Patreon, where our supporters get perks like getting to vote on what we cover on heroin addiction, bonus episodes, and getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early, like tonight. Wow. Except if you're listening to this on Thursday, it was Sunday night. And, of course, we have to shout out our patrons. So first and foremost, at our noble tier, we have our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf. Oh, damn, it's a new one. At our reincarnator tier, we've got Moon. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Laura Carroll, Last Man on Earth, and Rena. So thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, Brad, for that. Thank you, all of our patrons. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you listen to all of the podcasts on our feed. And, oh, shoot, time's up. I got to go running. See ya. Oh, it's a concept more than like it is not a race, it is a type of race. Are you just crunching it now? You have such not resistance. You have such restraint.
I don't like crunching stuff.
I love crunching stuff.
But I'm like, okay, we need to record this, so I need to finish it.
Must be showing better than the norm. Restraint. Again, it's just storytelling, but also it's just a big earworm because it's got such a cadence to it. So I'll play it at the end then. Do we want to start this?
If you want to.
I do. Late for dinner, late again, late for dinner, late again, late for dinner. Are you ready to land the plane when this sound ends? What were we even talking about when this started? And by land the plane, I mean thinky things and feely feels.
I specifically thought a few seconds after this started that when it ended, I was just going to go, all right, let's get into thoughts and feelings.
That works. I don't think I have anything else. If I did, it's been erased by that sound and me singing late for dinner. There's oh man, this might be this. I think if this stays on the podcast at all, this is after beeps. But there is I believe Western-made comic book anthology that is very clearly supposed to be shonen inspired, that I would love to buy that book and cover some of them in our style, because there's only one chapter. It's an anthology of single chapters made for that book by artists. And I think that would be, with how much we have covered on everything, I think that would be neat, of seeing other people try to ape the style. I don't know how much it will fit or not fit. I have not read it. I don't know anything. I just have a screenshot of it so I don't forget about it. But I think that would be a cool idea. Or even just one-shots in general, I think would be neat.
All right. Well, if you heard this after the beeps, we know you're a real one. So come on in Discord.
Yeah, because I think now, I think in the beginning, I didn't. When we started the show, I didn't want to do one-shots because it was so much of will this live or not. And now that we just don't care anymore, or I don't. Very explicitly, I do not care. So
will you keep reading this? I literally can't.
I can't. It's over. I guess then game comes. How could you keep going? What would you change to make it the first chapter instead of the only chapter? So. Thoughts for the future.